Hello, my name is Shannon Dinovo, and I chose Oceana as my conservation organization, and I'm going to tell you a little bit about that organization. So the purpose of Oceana is to protect and restore the world's oceans on a global scale. So the oceans cover 71% of the globe. They are very important and they are very vast. The oceans are home to most of the life on our planet, and they play a central role in the world's natural systems. They help regulate our climate. They also help to absorb carbon dioxide. The ocean provides millions of people with healthy seafood meals, and it has the potential to do even more than that. Unfortunately, our oceans are currently in trouble, but Oceana knows how to fix it, and they are working to increase that biodiversity and abundance through policy changes. So, quick brief history of Oceana. In 1999, a study revealed that less than 0.5% of environmental nonprofit groups of resources from those groups were going towards ocean conservation, which is frightening. And there was no actual specific organization designed for ocean protection. So in 2001, they established Oceana to kind of fill that gap. And by they, I'm referring to the Pew Brothers Charitable Trust, Oak Foundation, Marisala Foundation, and the Rockefeller Brothers Fund. To gain even more support, in 2002, they joined forces with Ted Danson's American Oceans Campaign, and Danson is still an active board member of Oceana today. Continued history. Oceana is opening up locations worldwide, and this is they already have U.S. offices and some other offices, but in 2003, they opened up offices in Chile and Spain, 2004, Belgium, in 2009, Belize, and they've done extensive work there, and then in 2011, their newest office was opened in the Baltic in Copenhagen. So, in order to get policy accomplished, the procedures and tactics they use for ocean conservation are Oceana uses campaigns to advocate for science-based fishery management and restoring the oceans of the world. So a lot of what they do is science-based. So Oceana does sea expeditions in order to gather information and documentation for areas missing research for protection protocols. So that way when they go to fight policy, they have all the scientific backing and research they need. So they use that information to campaign for proposals through lobby work that is supported by the scientific research that they conduct or that has already been conducted. Oceana is continuing to fight, but previously they have won nearly 200 victories that has enacted the protection of more than 3.5 million square miles of ocean. So some of the major victory highlights, and there are quite a few, but I just picked a couple to go over, were that the Chilean ocean, there's so much protection going on right now. So one of the big ones is the President Juan Fernandez, or the President Michelle Blanchette, protected the Juan Fernandez Islands and Wildlife Fund, and they have more protection in Chile than anywhere else really on the planet. So all these foundations and national parks set up by Chile has made Chile really a leader in ocean conservation. And this is because of all the Oceana working really closely with the communities and the small-scale fisheries over the last several years to help preserve the seas there. Another major victory was Belize ended offshore oil exploration and drilling in the entirety of the Belizean waters, so that really protects that reef that's located in Belize. Another big step is the Philippines is taking more steps to prosecute illegal fishing practices. So even though they had some laws in place, there was zero enforcement of those laws. And now they actually have active patrol people out policing for that illegal filling. big thing that happened during the Obama administration was protecting the Arctic Ocean from drilling. So there was companies set up to go up there and drill, and that is no more. So the Arctic Ocean is completely protected, which, as we all know, it's dwindling, so it's important to protect the ice up there. So all of Oceania's victories have really culminated in, I think, also awareness of the ocean. So even in 2017, the U.S. court upholded a ruling requiring traceability for at-risk seafood imports. And so that helps. It requires seafood importers of species like tuna, grouper, swordfish, red snapper, blue crab to provide specific information before their products can enter the United States, including what kind of fish it is and how and where it was caught and farmed. And that's a big thing, a big step that we can all take is if we are going to eat at-risk fish like tuna and grouper and swordfish and red snapper, we need to make sure that we're buying it from a sustainable source and from a healthy population size. So at least in the U.S., you can ask where your food was caught and what species it's from, and if it was coming from a sustainable place. And that way you know whether or not you want to order it from the menu. So thank you, and here are a list of my references, and that is it. Goodbye.